What up guys, Alex here, GuitarForce.com. So as you can see today we're going to take a look at a song called Animal by Def Leppard, and this was kindly requested and supported by Matt, so huge thanks goes out to him for the support. In this lesson we're going to break down all of the parts of the song. There are two guitar parts going on here. One is sort of like a rhythm guitar and the second is sort of lead guitar. So we're going to take a look at both of the parts in this lesson, including the solo as well. And if you're going to need the tabs and the backing track, they're going to be available at GuitarForce.com. The link is going to be in the description box down below. Also, I will post the link to the cover sort of playthrough of this song, which is going to be on my other channel. The link is also going to be in the description box down below. If you're interested, check it out. For this lesson, I was using, again, the VST plugin, guitar rig for the sound. And I was using two different presets, one clean guitar, one is overdriven guitar. So I'm going to show you the pictures of the presets right now. And we're going to be in standard tuning, and while you are checking out the pictures of the presets, I'm going to play you my low E string, which is going to be E, the low E, so you can tune up and play along with this lesson. Alright, so now let's go for the close-up and start the lesson. Alright, so we're going to divide this lesson into parts, and also because there are two guitars there playing, the first one being rhythm guitar, the second is lead guitar, and also at times in certain sections there is an additional third guitar as well. So we're going to be bouncing between the rhythm guitar and the lead guitar, and also the different sections. So for the intro part, the rhythm guitar is playing the following chord progression. Alright, so here we have primarily, we're doubling up the bass, so playing with power chords, starting off with the A sharp power chord or B flat. All of the chords are being played palm muted, so we have for one bar the A sharp, the eighth notes, then we go to the second bar, we have the C power chord for 3 8 notes, and then we go to the D power chord for the rest of the bar. Then we go back to playing the A sharp again for the whole bar. Then we have again C power chord for 3 8 notes, D for 3 times for 3 8 notes, and then we go back to the C power chord again for 2 times. And then we repeat the whole 4 bars all together. So that's the part for the rhythm guitar. And the lead guitar during that section is playing the following phrases. Alright, so here we start off with this double stop, so 11th fret on the B string, 10th fret on the G. And we add the tremolo arm here, adding some vibrato. So at first you can go slower, and then later on speed it up a little bit. And then we have these couple of phrases. So the first one. So here we're playing on the B string 10th fret and alternating that with the 10th fret on the D string. So the pattern is pretty simple. So we play the first 8 notes on the B string, then it's followed by 2 8 notes on the D string, and it's palm muted. So we have. So the last time, the third time, we play the D string only once, and then we go to 11th fret on the B string and do the same, so alternating that with the 2 notes on the D string, 10th fret, then we go back to the 10th fret on the B string, we hit the note and then gradually bend it up, kind of half a step, and you can add the vibrato. So that's the first part. Then the second part, we're following the same rhythmical pattern here, but now we start off with the B string on the 11th fret, still alternating that with the 10th fret on the D string. So exactly same thing. Now here we go for the 13th fret on the B string, then we go back to the 10 on the D again for 2 notes. And here we're bending 11th fret, this time the whole step. Adding some vibrato, and then in the end we have. So here just playing the octave. So 10th fret on the D, 13 on the B string. And we follow the same kind of principle, but this time we just hit the whole octave. So the first we're hitting it with the B string. And then you can palm mute it and play the D string, just the D string, 2 times. And then in the end we just add that kind of rhythmical pattern. So 2 16th notes followed by 2 8th notes, playing the whole octave. So that's it for the intro guitar. One more time, the whole thing goes like this. Alright, so after the intro we go into the first verse, and again we have 2 guitars going on there. So the first guitar we're gonna look at is the rhythm guitar, and it's playing on a clean guitar, on clean channel, and it's kind of a funky rhythm, funky figure that it's playing. So I'm gonna play it through first of all, and then we're gonna break it down. So it goes like this. So again, just these 4 bars, I'm sorry. And what we have here is a double stop, alternating with some muted strings. And just keep in mind that there is also, I think you can hear a second guitar playing kind of variation of that riff. So this is just one of the variations how you can play this part, this figure. But mostly it's just playing the double stop, alternating with the muted strings, like I said. So starts off with this double stop, which is 6th fret on the B string and 5th fret on the G string. So the pattern goes like this, and also we're going to be alternating it with the both strings on the 5th fret. So the pattern goes like this. We play the double stop, and then we play 2 muted strings, 2 times the muted strings. So we have the first double stop, muted strings, then we have that double stop on the 5th fret, both of the strings. Then again 2 muted strings, then we have the first double stop, 2 more muted strings, again the first double stop, 2 muted strings, and then we have, so playing each of the double stops 2 times. So that's the first part. So slowly it's going to be like this. Okay, so that's the first part, and then the second part, it's very similar with a couple of exceptions. So it starts off again with the first double stop, then we have 2 muted strings, second double stop, then we have once hitting the mute strings, and then from the first double stop we go right into the second, followed by 2 muted strings again. And then here we have a third double stop, which is looks like this. So we just add the 8th fret on the B string. So this is the 5th interval. So we add this, and then we have again 2 times muted strings, and then the ending again. Both of these, the first and second double stops, we play it twice. Now, like I said, there is a variation. You can hear that the second guitar is kind of playing, arpeggiating a little bit the strings in the end. So if you want, you can do that. But you know, that's pretty much the essence of the whole figure of for the verse. So that's pretty much it. Now I'm gonna play the whole figure one more time slowly, both of the parts, so you can hear and see what's going on. So it goes like this. Alright, one more thing to mention. During this part there is also an additional third guitar, or the second clean guitar, which is just adding a couple of chords. And it's just hitting the chords a couple of times. So the first one, so it looks like this. So you hit it kind of, you know, 2 times to 8th notes, and let it ring out, adding some vibrato with a tremolo arm if you want to. And then the second chord. So the first one is 5, 6, 5 and 5th fret on the D string, and the second chord is sort of like a G sus4, so 3rd fret, 3rd, 5th, 5th, and that's it. Just a couple of additional chords. You can hear them being played. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's played in the second time when they play the figure for the, you know, the clean guitar. So once they play this figure, then the second time they add the 2 chords, and then the second chord. Alright, so that's an additional clean guitar during this part. Alright, so now we go on to the lead guitar during the verses. So during the first verse, the first part of the verse, the lead guitar is doing nothing, so it's just silent. But what you can do is you can follow up the bass, just like we did with the intro on the rhythm guitar. So you can do the same thing, and it's practically the same chord progression with the exception of the last bar. So the figure that you can play goes like this. So as you can see, the progression is pretty much the same. So start off again with the A sharp for the whole bar, then C, D, back to A sharp, and now here for the 4th bar we have we go to the G, A, back to G. So that's the only difference between the intro part. And when you play the last bar, instead of the power chord, you can just play the single notes like that. Alternatively, when you go to the A, because it's a minor chord, you can play the minor 3rd, but you know, it implies that it's an A minor, but you don't have to play it, so you can play just the single notes like that. So that's the first part of the first verse, and then we go into this additional riff that the lead guitar is playing, and it goes like this. Alright, so what we have here is we're alternating some muted strings with the 3rd fret on the D string. So in the tabs you can see that we go 2 muted strings and also palm muted. Then we open up a little bit and we play the note, 3rd fret on the D string. So we do it for 3 times with the muted strings, and then the last part of the phrase we have. So it's 3rd fret 2 times, then we go to the 2nd fret, back to the 3rd, and add some vibrato. Okay, so that's the whole figure during this part of the verse. So one more time, slowly. so we're gonna come back to this part a little bit later on when we go into the second verse. There is a slight variation of that riff, but now let's move on. We go to pre-chorus, and we have again the rhythm guitar just playing some chords. So the chords that the rhythm guitar is playing go like this. So we have three chords here, the first one being the B power chord, and we're using the higher register of the chord. So this is the shape that you can use for this, for the B chord. Then we have an F sharp power chord, and the third one is C sharp. And you can also use the tremolo arm to add some vibrato. So each of the chords, the first two chords we play for the whole bar, and the C sharp we play for two bars. And then actually you can use different variations of the chords. So instead of here, you can go to the standard. But this one sounds a little bit more correct with the original chord. So then for the F sharp, and for C sharp you can go down here. Alright, so these are the three chords. We repeat the progression 2 times, and then we go into the chorus. But let's go back a little bit and jump into the lead guitar. So the lead guitar is playing some different figure, which goes like this. Alright, so here we have 4 different parts. So the first one, so we have here 4th fret on a G string. We have alternating that note with the 7 on B, then 6 on B, then back to 7. And as you can see, we lightly palm mute the G string. So then we do the same, but we alternate now the 6 frets of the G string with the same frets on the B, adding some vibrato of the last note. And then we have the third part. So now we alternate the 6th fret of the G with the 9, 7, 9 on the B string, adding some vibrato to the last note. And then we have, so here the next bar, as you can see, starts off with the off beat. So the first 8th note we have the rest, then we add the 2 16th notes, the muted strings, sorry, and then here we have these 3 double stops. So the first one is the 6th fret of the 2nd and 3rd strings, and then we add simply 7 frets on the B string, and then we add the 9 frets of the B string. And that's the last part of this phrase. And by the way, you can play this as double stop, or you can play, you know, add the D string as well. So the first note would be on the 6th fret, and then this is very common kind of figure that was used back in the days. So adding the 8th frets on the D string, if you want to, but it sounds a little bit more to me that they're playing the double stop like that. So that's the figure during the pre-chorus. So one more time, a little bit slower. All of the parts of this lead guitar are gonna go like this. Okay, after that part we go right into the chorus. So again, two guitars here. The first guitar, the rhythm guitar, is playing the following progression. Okay, so here we have four chords. We have F sharp, power chord going to the E power chord. Then we have B, power chord going to the A. And it's playing in this riff, in this rhythm. So again, it can vary a little bit. You can start off with muted strings, right? Or you can start with just the bass note. And then we do the same with the E, B, A. Alright, like that. So one more time, the whole thing. And we play this figure for a few times, and then in the end we have... So we just play the A chord and we dive bomb it with the tremolo arm. Now that's the rhythm guitar, and the lead guitar is playing the following figure. So it's just playing between these two notes, 7th fret on the B, 9 on the high E, and basically starts off with the off beats, and the first note is on the high E string, 9th fret, so it's 1 and 2 and 3, so that's the pattern. And you know, if you just listen carefully to the rhythm, I'm sure you'll be able to get it. Or you can start off with the B string 7th fret as being the first note of the bar, and adding a little bit of the tremolo to the whole riff, to these two notes. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we play this figure for eight bars all together, and on the 8th bar you just hit the double stop all together, and that's when the rhythm guitar is playing the A power chord with the dive bomb. That's pretty much it for the chorus for both of the guitars. Alright, so after the first chorus we go right into the second verse, and the rhythm guitar is playing the same thing on the clean guitar, so doing the same figure. You know that part. Now the lead guitar is adding some ad-libs here, so it starts off with some dive bombs, the first note. So 3rd fret on the D string, you hit the notes and gradually just dive bomb it with the tremolo arm, and then it goes back to the just playing the 3rd fret on the D string, adding some vibrato with the tremolo arm again. Then we have just hitting the chord, the F power chord, couple of times, this shape. So it goes 1, 2, and so on the 2 and, you know, he hits the chord. Then we have one bar which is just silent, doing nothing. Then we get into the 3rd bar and we do the same, but we hit the chord 2 times. So we have 1, 2, and 3, 4. Okay, so it's on the 2 ands, and on the 4 we hit the chord. It makes much more sense when you are playing and when you are listening to the song, instead of me just explaining it like that. But that's what he does, you know. Listen carefully and you can hear when he hits these chords 3 times. Alright, so now we go back to, like I said before, to the figure that is playing. So we played this figure in the first verse, In the second verse, it's a little bit different, so it goes like this. Alright, so here we have an additional note. As you can see, we have two muted notes, two muted strings. Then we have third fret to the second, and then you can hit either the muted string or you can just leave that note to ring out a little bit. Then we go back to the third fret again, two muted strings, and then the ending is the same as in the first part. So that part we played for 3 times, and then the fourth time we have, so it's 5, 3, 2, 3. So we have, let me play it one more time. Like that. So that last time we just played the fourth time. 5, 3, 2, 3. Okay? And that's the whole difference with the first part. Alright, so after this part we go into the pre-chorus and chorus, and they're exactly the same as we did the first time. So we're gonna move on to the next section, which is the bridge. And again, we have 2 guitar parts there. So the rhythm guitar part is playing the following figure. It goes like this. Okay, so here we have we hit the A power chord from the last chord of the chorus, and we go into this line. So 5th fret on the low E, second note, second fret, I'm sorry, and then the 3rd fret. Adding some vibrato. Then we have rest, and then we hit the 3rd fret again, adding some vibrato. Then we repeat the same phrase. And if you want to, you can play the first 2 notes as power chords. So A power chord, go into F sharp, and then 3rd fret, just playing a single note. Again, a little rest, and again adding the note one more time. Then the second part. So here we have 3rd fret on the low E, going to the 5th fret on the A, and you can add the pinch harmonic here. And then the last note is going to be a low E string, either open low E or either the E power chord. And do it one more time. Again with the rest in between and adding the low E or E power chord again. So that's the rhythm guitar, guitar number 1 during this bridge. The second guitar, the lead guitar, is just adding some ad-libs. So the first one is just a unison bend here, high E13, 16 on the B string, and you bend it up. So that's the first one. Then we have, after it plays one more time, we have the low E string open, doing the dive bomb. Then we have the rest, and then before going into the solo, it goes into these unison bends, playing them chromatically. So it starts off with the 5th fret on the B string and bending the G string on the 7th. Okay? And we basically take the same approach and we move it up chromatically. So 5, 6, 7 up to the it's going to be 15 frets on the B string, bending 17th fret on the G. Okay? And we do it in a kind of triple fill, quarter note triple fill. And we have this build up, and then we go into the solo. So before we start breaking down the solo, the rhythm guitar is playing the part of the intro. But it plays it with the chords, so we have. So the only difference here is that he plays it on the clean guitar, and also, like I said, the chords are just being played instead of the power chords. He plays them as, you know, just regular standard chords, part of the chords anyway. So 3rd fret here on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. Then we move up 2 frets to the 5th fret, so it's a C essentially. Then we play the D minor 7 part of the chord, back to A sharp. Then we have again C, D, back to C, and then again repeating the whole thing one more time. Alright, so that's the rhythm guitar during the solo. Now let's break down the solo into phrases. So the first phrase goes like this. So it's all going to be done primarily on the G string. So we bend up the 5th fret, then you bend it up again, bring it down, move up to the 7th fret. You hit the 7th fret, then you bend it up, bring it down, and then play 2 times the 5th fret. So, and here you can add a little bit of pinch harmonics as well to this last part of the phrase. Then we have, so you bend up the G string on the 5th fret, you bend it up, and you pick that note 3 more times. Then you bring it down, 5, 7. Then you slide into the 9th fret and you add some vibrato. So that's the first part. Then again we have so that's the second time we bend it up, 5th fret, then bend it up, bring it down. Again going to the 7th fret here, and then we jump up onto the B string. In triplet feel again we have 8th fret, bend up, bring it down, 6, 5 on the B string. Then we have the next phrase. So again, bending up the string, staying on the bend, picking it 3 more times, then you bring it down, 5. Then we go to the B string, 3rd fret, and then you hit the 5th fret with the pinch harmonic. So it's kind of next to this middle pick here. And you dive bomb it with the tremolo arm. So that's the whole solo. Now I'm going to play all of the parts together. It goes like this. Alright, so after the solo we go back to playing the pre-chorus and chorus exactly the same way as we did previously. And then we basically just play the chorus a few times. There is a, so we play it for 2 times, and then the 3rd time we have a stop, so watch out for that. And the stop is going to be like this. For the rhythm guitar, which is playing the chords, is going to go like this. So when you get to the A chord, you just play 4 8th notes, stop, we rest for half a bar, and then we go back to the beginning again. So that's the only difference. And the lead guitar is just playing. And by the way, instead of these two notes, you can go up to here. And you can add, so it's going to be 11 on the G string and 14 on the B. And for the octave, if you want to, you can add the 14 on the high E. Is going to be the same as this note. So, and here you don't have to follow, you know, exactly the. You can just play the eighth notes here. So just, you know, use a little bit of variation here and there when playing this part on the lead guitar. You know, just follow the whole song, the idea of the whole song, and you're going to be okay. So just watch out for these stops. They occur 2 times, and yeah, for the variation, instead of here, you can go up to here. And basically that's how we end the song. Okay guys, so that brings us to the end of this lesson. I hope you liked it. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. Also comment, share, subscribe if you are new to my channel. Don't forget to visit GuitarForce.com for more guitar lessons. In the meantime, I'll see you again. Take it easy, and as always, let the force be with you.